I know that there's a lot of confusion around what 5G actually is. It took me a little while to actually understand that 5G is actually a combination of technologies. And as far as I'm aware, that it could literally be a what people may think is a 4G or 3G signal, but the difference is that it's actually being beamformed. So it's the signal is directional towards somebody's head, somebody's foot, somebody's phone, rather than it just kind of beaming out the signal all of the time. And it's actually the kind of the strength of how this focused signal is actually the potentially, well, I mean is the weaponized aspect of 5G. Is that roughly correct?
There's a nice picture of 5G there, David.
Yeah.
And what you'll see, you've got it on the left. This is the IEEE. That's the International Electronics Engineers. This is their definition of 5G. 5G is two things, not just this.
Yeah.
5G is densification, so it means more of everything that went before. So more 4G, 3G, 2G. But where it really is its technical aspect is the fact of it being able to focus the signal.
Yes, right. So this is where the confusion lays, isn't it? It's because there are obviously different waveforms that are stronger than others, just naturally. The ones when they start to go up into the higher gigahertz. But the fact is that what you're saying and what the technology actually is that it's the same stuff as before, except it's focused.
It's focused, and it's also it's called phased array radar. And the reason why nobody talks about that is because that's illegal. That's actually, I've got some pictures here, and I'll show you in a moment. So let's just. Both of those pictures are 5G. So your 4G on the left, I would suggest that looks more like a phased array radar. And the picture on the right is the focus. This is created by what's called a dielectric lens. Now I'm going to show you a picture of the dielectric lens because I actually have one here. I want people to see this because this is the bit that is absolutely illegal.
And just whilst Mark's showing that, any kind of signal that we understand as signal creates an increased cancer risk, cellular stress, increase in harmful free radicals, genetic damage, structural and functional changes of the reproductive system, learning and memory defects, neurological disorders, negative impacts on general well-being in humans, harmful effects on both animal and plant life. And recently in America, fire stations have actually been granted a kind of sanction in law where masts now are being removed from firefighters' stations because they were reporting, there were a few studies done, weren't there, and they were reporting loss of memory and intermittent confusion, weakness, and abnormal brain functions.
So
that's yeah, right. So and that's just the stuff that we have now. It's not the stuff that Mark's showing us now.
That lens there is what's called a dielectric lens. That allows me to focus the signal. So you see the image that we just looked at before with a 5G. So that's a 5G antenna.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't operate in inverse square law. It doesn't pass any regulatory standards. And the reason why it doesn't pass any of the standards is because I can shoot you with it. Right. Now I know a lot of people will think, what? Well, what I'm going to show you here is an image taken from Bloomberg. This was in February 2018. How to defend off wild boars with wicked fast 5G. It's a weapon system. 5G has got absolutely nothing to do with telecommunications for humans. It is a telecommunications system for an autonomous, so an ATV, AUV, in autonomous vehicles, as I showed in the picture before, where it's actually sending a signal to a vehicle. You get in between that signal and yourself, and believe us, you will be in serious trouble. I'm going to show everybody a picture here of, it's quite an interesting image of a mobile phone. This is a simulation. this is a simulation of a 5G phone. You see the radiation pattern.
Yeah.
Now, that's quite interesting. It's quite an interesting image, and that's obviously a 5G signal. That's an uplink. What 5G? 5G does downlink, so it actually fires a signal at the mobile device. So your mobile device is uplinking data there. Now, if you get in between that signal, and so let's say you just orientate that head the wrong way around, and you can see what I'm getting at, that there, you'd be lucky to get away with brain injury. Brain injury would be the least of your concerns, because that would potentially kill you.
But Mark, what a lot of people would say though is that I mean, obviously, what is said as well is that the milliwatts level of, obviously what you're talking about is a weapon that has much high wattage pushing out that frequency. So when we're talking about the milliwatts level, I think you said it's 300, didn't you, milliwatts per square meter that we're getting from these masts.
Well, this one, right, this transmitter here, we'll go back to this one. This transmitter here is 25 milliwatt.
So that's 25 milliwatts. So with that diagram that you just showed me, so 25 milliwatts per square meter, is it?
No, well, it's no. That's at the first centimeter. So you're 25 milliwatts from the transmission. So that's exactly from where it comes. But let's put that into context. The maximum I can expose you to is 1.
Yeah.
For 6 minutes.
Yeah.
That's this one here. This specific one's 25. So on continually. Now, what we have in a very short, small space is 31,875. This is supposedly a Part 15 FCC approved product. That's basically an unregistered, an unlicensed product. It's the sort of thing that you're supposed to have in your deck phone at home. This is most certainly not that. This is off a battlefield. This is a weapon system. That's all that is. So those signals, what I'm suggesting to people here, when you see this picture here, you can see the image on the right hand side, the 5G. You see the signal actually going into the vehicle.
Yeah.
If you as a human got in between that signal, you're at risk, significant risk.
So so just to kind of back up what Mark's saying, is that the MOD are actually the ones that are selling off the 5G wavelengths, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're the ones that have EE have bought some, Vodafone have bought some, and it's actually the MOD that are selling these wavelengths. So that's an interesting factor as well. When people start to say, well, it can't be the military, well, it is. And another thing that we found is that Jacobs Engineering, it's a very large American firm. They do a lot of the work. And they've developed a lot of this 5G technology for the US government and its military.
Well, if you look at this image here, David, you'll see the whole idea of these particular products is so that they can be fitted and concealed. So you're going to ask yourself the question, why does somebody want to conceal a technology in its environment? Well, I can tell you why, because when people work at what 5G really is, they'll be looking to make sure that they aren't in the near locality.
Yeah, right.
So they're actually building products so that are concealed. Now, this particular product, it looks like a terminal block. You know the larger terminal blocks you see on telegraph poles? It basically looks like like a black covered block. That's where your pipes going underneath, your cables actually going underneath, and it's a singular block. Well, that's this 5G small cell was designed like that. It's to make you think that it's something that it's not. So everybody's got to scratch their heads and think, well, why would you want to do that? We've got governments telling people that, we're going to be the next big 5G. 5Gs, this is the future. And then they want to hide it. They want to conceal the solution.
Yeah.
Isn't that? Telling people
right. So it's fascinating you say that, because I received an answer from the Department for Digital Culture and Media and Sports Day I got the FOI request back, and it says here 5G is a term used to describe the fifth generation of mobile communications technologies. There is not yet a common definition, as this is an experimental technology that is not yet commercially available. Definitive standards are due to be agreed in 2009, and incremental deployment is expected over the following decade. 5G is likely to be deployed as part of a patchwork of technologies, including advanced 4G, Wi-Fi, and 5G new radio. So basically, what they're saying here is actually are they, Mark, are they lying, or are they misinformed?
Well, a little bit of both. A lot of them's misinformed. I've wrote to central government. I've told them it's a weapons system. Believe it's yeah, it's masquerading as a control management system. That thing there, that is the 5G. That's totally. That is absolutely all over the UK. It's masquerading as a control management system. And not only that, it is illegal and unlawful. This piece of equipment doesn't pass any regulatory standard. Zero. And antenna design are specifically developed within a set of international regulatory standards, a framework specifically to protect humans. These are dangerous technologies, and the reason why they fit within these standards is because they harm humans. The reason why Lloyd's of London are uninsurable. This thing doesn't even fit within the uninsurable transmitter framework. That's how dangerous this is. I can shoot you. I can shoot you. I can phased array. This is a phased array, illegal, unlawful weapon rolled out thanks to central government stupidity and local authorities' ignorance. Because I'm not saying local authorities haven't got a clue, but what we're most certainly sure about, I've already stated and I've made no bones about it, 5G is an existential threat and it's economic terrorism. It makes people sick. The increase in people who are developing dementia and gated, that's why gated councils go bankrupt. You don't pay rates when you start to suffer from dementia. People are kept in homes, massive burden on the public purse. Consequently, we've seen significant increases in dementia. These transmitters cause dementia. We know they do. We know they cause diabetes and dementia. The science is absolutely proven. This is not for discussion anymore. I mean, I'm sick of people mentioning about IC and IRP guidelines. IC and IRP guidelines apply to cooking. It's a thermal value, and you're only supposed to be exposed for a maximum of 6 minutes. These transmitters are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they cause dementia. Period. So we've got an absolute horrendous issue going on in the area. Obviously, they've carried out this particular study, which is more than suspicious, basically identifying and I'm not saying that people don't get depressed, however, when they're on universal benefits. However, let's go back to the 30s. People weren't committing suicide hand over fist in the 30s, and they had a lot less than what they have on universal credit. I can tell you, people were living on a slice of bread a week. So let's not kid ourselves. Human beings are pretty robust, but if you blast them with microwave radiation that causes neurological disorders, we know that.
So around around the issues, because a lot of people that be listening to this have sent out FOIs or they've read them and they've seen what the public health, was it the Public Health of England have come back with, and other departments, where they say to go back to the what is it, I can never remember it, the ICNIRP. They've deliberately made it like that just to make it really complicated, but they're the International Commission of Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. Okay, so and I've actually looked into this report, and there's another doctor who's done a brilliant article, and it's on smombygate.org, where we've gone into detail of the report they've just published, because they're rushing through this new report to update it, because technology is moving so fast. These people are so slow that they're having to basically, and literally what they're doing with this report is that they've just gone in and they've amended the report, the last report on 4G, and they've just basically updated parts of the report saying that it's got the same health risks and effects as 4G or 3G. And the technology, as you all know now, if you've been watching this video, you know that that is completely incorrect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
so the thing that Mark's attempting to do is trying to actually bring Gateshead Council to the table, and he's trying to coach them. He's trying to teach them that the fact that 5G is not what they think it is.
5G
And they're
is
not.
certainly not, David.
It's not.
The judge in the civil case warned Gateshead Council and told them they had to open up the democratic process and allow me and to answer my questions. What happens? They've just sent me more threatening communications. I'm going to read this out.
Yeah.
This is ICNIRP, and this is off their website. And would you trust an organisation like this? It says, undertakes all reasonable measures to ensure the reliability of information presented on the website, but does not guarantee the correctness, reliability, or completeness of the information and views published. The content of our website is provided to you for information only. Now, that's the ICNIRP, but also Professor Paolo Vecchi in 2008, the head of ICNIRP at the time at a conference in London, turned around and said, let no one use ICNIRP guidelines as a defensive war. This is a moving story, and what's happened, we've got what I'm going to state they most certainly are, criminals with criminal intent who are disregarding their duty of care to the public.
This is official line from the Department of Digital Culture, Media and Sport. And I'll say it again, 5G is a term to describe a fifth generation of mobile communications technologies. Listen to this, okay? This is an experimental technology that is not yet commercially available. Yet, Mark has evidence that has been deployed in Gateshead. I know that it's been deployed in Battersea. I know that it's been deployed in Westminster. I know that it's been deployed in Luton, and I know that it's been deployed in several other areas. So for them to downright say lie to me, saying that it's not yet commercially available, what do they mean by that? I think that they mean that people can't buy 5G phones yet.
That's all I mean. Absolutely all I mean.
So if we're running off the IC NERP guidelines, right, and they're not willing to basically back what they're saying, and there's no other guidelines on the planet, then and where can the government say, where do the people say that we don't want to be experimented on with this technology? Because that is what's going on. If you interpret what's been told to me through this FOI, is that it's an experimental technology. So they're actually experimenting on people in Gateshead. They're experimenting with this technology in certain areas. I believe in Birmingham as well. They're about to roll it out. And in Bristol and in Edinburgh as well. Loads of places. So when does it become commercially available? And when it becomes commercially available, Mark, will there be any difference? There won't be, will there?
Well, it's absolutely illegal. Right. I mean, in all animal tests, where animals are harmed. So we know that there's significant numbers of harm to whether they be rabbits, rats, mice, any biological structure exposed to this type of radiation suffers harm. So consequently, in the Nuremberg Code, you cannot experiment on humans in any way, shape, or form without first and foremost their full consent.
Right. So where is this law? So Mark, where is this law? Bring it up.
The Nuremberg Code. I don't have it here. Anybody can go and have a look at the Nuremberg Code.
Look on that.
Yeah. Nuremberg Code.
Yep, because I'll bring what I'll do in with this podcast as well, or whatever it's going to be. I'll put in here as well the FOI, so everybody can see the government's official line that says that it's an experimental technology, and what Mark's just said there. We do not consent to this, and because Mark's saying that this is an illegal technology, they're doing things illegally. But there is actually no foundation in law for this technology at all. So it's neither legal or illegal right now. And these guidelines are not binding. So that means that there is nothing whatsoever on 5G technology, yet they're rolling this out. Okay, and I think that the reason is because they don't want to license it, because as soon as they license it, it will go through, as Mark's saying, is that it will go through a whole series of tests, and then it have to be regulated, and then all of a sudden the reason why they have to regulate it is because otherwise they won't get any insurance, because what will start happening is people are going to start popping off and dying in great numbers. Where's the insurance for that? Where is the insurance? And they're not going to do it, Mark. So how far do you think they're going to get with 5G and its implementation?
They're going to get as far as we allow. That's how far 5G is. 5G is going to go as far as the humans on this planet who don't mind dying. They can allow that to happen. But I can tell you now, all the humans I've met, nobody likes death. And this will kill you. It will kill your pets, your family, your children, your grandchildren. This radiation is absolutely lethal. This weaponry, the reason it's weaponry is because it is lethal. These, it kills the environment off. So we've seen it collapse in small birds, flying insects. I mean, these transmitters are not safe.
Yeah.
They're uninsurable. And the reason why they won't put them through any test, they'll fail. So we've got a technology that currently is being experimented on the population, which in breach of the Nuremberg Code, because obviously these transmitters are harmful to humans. In all of the animal tests, they harm the animals. So you're totally in breach of the Nuremberg Code. And then you've got the impact on the environment. Everybody's noticed that, we don't see any ladybirds anymore. They're basically beetles, the things that you used to see flying around all the time.
I know, Mark.
They've all just totally disappeared. We know what the cause is. The science shows it's the cause, so we have the epidemiological data. This is, it's just absolutely unbelievable what's going on. And here we have.
I mean, So Mark, I mean, to add to your point there, I was sent this piece a few days ago where 5G. 5G was. They've said that it's some experimental technology. They turned it on. Hundreds of sparrows fell dead from roofs in the sky, and this was in where was it? This was done in relation to the Dutch railway station Holland Spoor, and basically on Friday the 19th of October, 30 dead starlings. Wednesday, the 24th, 30 again. Thursday, the 25th of October, 88. And then Thursday, the 1st of November, 138. And then there was a whole different load of birds that they found. And this continued until they actually turned off the 5G mast. So, the evidence is coming out, and these are birds. And Mark's completely right about the birds. Is where have all the birds gone? I hardly see sparrows and starlings anymore. Hardly see them. And that's
in particular.
Sparrows. Where have all the sparrows gone? There's not many left. Like when I see them, they're generally away from the roads and away from cities now. They used to be everywhere. I mean, Mark, can you click on that link that I sent you in the chat box? So this is a visual example of Jacobs Engineering are bringing out. They're one of the major contractors in the UK that are rolling out 5G, and they're the ones that they're one of the companies that developed the technology for the military. I mean, Mark, you showed me the other day. So just to put this into context, the miniaturization of this military technology is obvious, where Mark's shown you the antenna. But Mark, can you just explain these four pieces of weaponry?
Well, these are UVs. That's the F-35, which is a bit of a fantasy plane. There's the
So go on.
there's
Sorry.
if you look at the ship there, you'll see that's phased array. Those little rectangular systems on the top of that conning tower, you'll see that's phased array. That's the weaponry system on that particular ship. We see eight AUVs, ATVs. 5G is all about target acquiring, and what it's also about, it's to guide this autonomous flying vehicle into and onto target. So, you know, what you can't do, these devices need satellites, they need ground signal systems to control them, to keep them where they are, because as you can see, it hasn't got a guy flying it about. So you can't fly blind in any way. So it's got to have some controlling mechanism. Satellites can be a problem in, you know, certain types of weather. So if I want to fly one of these up your street in Kensington and attack you, then obviously I need that transmitter on the top of that LED street light.
And Mark, what has been happening to Western troops over the past 10, 15 years? They've been committing suicides in droves, and it's not just suicide; it's PTSD and all sorts of radiation poisoning. My dad was in the army, and he got cancer in his neck, and because he always had in Northern Ireland, he always had one of those big radios next to his neck. It was exactly where the radio was. They've been using this technology for years, you know. So you know, am I right, Mark, that diagram that you brought up of the 5G with the beam forming, if you could you bring that up? Can I just confirm something with you? So where they're beam forming is that's actually you could actually swap out the people in the buildings and the other.
Is it this one you're looking at?
No, it's the one between it's the difference between 4G masts.
5G. Yeah.
So the one on the right hand side, you could actually look at that as a battlefield, couldn't you?
Yeah. I've actually got I've got an image of a phased array. I'll give you a picture.
Bring that up because it's really interesting when you start looking at the battlefield diagrams. They look exactly the same as the 5G ones, don't they? Because it's actually it's the military that developed this technology for communications, but also they obviously understood that it's a weapon as well.
I'll tell you where it is.
And they know, don't they, Mark? They know that they know the reasons why soldiers are dying in their droves and committing suicide.
They know exactly, and I'll show you exactly why in a second. I'm gonna get this image up. This is some of the weaponry. That was your first phased array. First ever.
That looks a lot like the Tesla stuff.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the first. So you know they've been messing around with this for quite a number of years. That's some very sophisticated phased array. See, there's all your antennas there. You know, we spoke about that. In lethality and focus, the more you have of these, the more lethal they are, and the more you can focus them. That's a phased array beam. That's where I'm offsetting the signal. So you see, that's what's called a lobe. Those side lobes, these small little blue bits, they're pretty potent, and that's the reason why you've got battlefield. You know, guys on the battlefield. This is some newer stuff here. That's phased array system. You see, there's all the small antennas.
So what would that be used for, Mark?
It's just for target acquiring. It's a target acquiring system. This is it on the front of a plane here.
Yeah, right. So essentially, what you're saying is I know this as well. Is that it creates a 3D environment, a live 3D environment, right? So to all of the listeners, if you can imagine that this is also on Mark's website, saveusnow.org.uk and smobbygate.org, is that this 5G has the capability of creating a 3D environment. So if you imagine, if you can imagine, this is going to be controlled by AI, and in order for the AI to be able to get a signal around a building, it has to first have a 3D image of that area for it to be able to work out which relays to use to get to that person
David,
or that
that's
thing.
that's what they tell you. That's the higher frequency waveforms.
Right,
These sub-gigahertz, this goes directly through this building. So if you see this 5G antenna design,
right. So that goes through the building.
that's radar. That's just radar.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with your mobile phone. If you get in between that signal, believers, you see, it's got the it's got some mobile phones. I'll tell you what, if you get in between that signal and your mobile phone, believers, you're in serious trouble. I mean, this is not for your
So,
mobile
yeah,
phone. I
but
just always laugh when I see
Mark,
things
this
there.
is where people start saying
Yeah,
you're nuts,
yeah,
because
good.
why would
Yeah,
why
well, have a
would
look.
why would anybody deploy this technology? And this technology has technically been deployed, hasn't it? And I think it was deployed at I think Bristol University. They tested it, didn't they? And didn't wasn't it? Was it Bristol University? There were a few suicides,
They've
I
had
believe.
what we believe. Yeah, we think there's
Was it
probably about
one suicide, wasn't it? I think
no, about 15
about
kids.
right 50 right. So there were suicides when they turned this 5G on.
Well,
It's funny, isn't
15,
it?
15 that they've reported 15.
Yeah,
These are
right.
coroner reports. Now, what you've got to remember, coroners only report on suicide at about 30% of cases.
Yeah,
So what we've
yeah,
probably seen in Bristol is probably 50 or
yeah,
60 kids who've committed
yeah,
suicide. This shows you here. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up.
yeah,
This is 5G making its global debut at the Olympics, and what it actually says there at the bottom, shoots. And as you can see, shoots rays. Well,
yeah.
that ray that it's shooting at you, I can tell you, it'll kill you.